What's up, peoples? It's none other than your boy KD. Man, we back again, and I just wanted to talk on a topic, or I should say, point out an issue that I continue to harp on because I've talked about this topic for years, and that's the ability of being able to be self-aware. Because I was sitting up there listening to a podcast or a show recently this week where somebody was just talking about, there were some ladies on the show and somebody just kept asking the question, you know, how is it that you can spend so much time and devote so much time to tearing someone down when you could be utilizing that time to build yourself up, to invest into yourself, as the scriptures like to say, iron sharpens iron, and your friends hold you accountable. So when it comes down to it, man, you have to have a circle of people who hold you accountable, who bring things to your remembrance because they know you better than most, and they know the things that you've laid out. And if you should ever find yourself astray, they're the ones that can say, man, remember you said you wanted to lose this amount of weight. Don't pick up that burger. Or remember you said you wanted to cut this, that, and out, this, that, and the other out. And so they bring things to your relationship. If this is a woman that you're married to, or whatever the case may be, like the Holy Spirit brings things to the remembrance of the saints of God, those who are the bride of Christ. There are individuals in your life, when you choose those people that are your circle, you choose a select few who are willing and courageous enough to hold you accountable. And so that starts with self-awareness, man. You have to be willing to self-govern yourself. And when you're self-aware, you can deal with things and you can call things out in yourself that are an issue, that when other people call it out, you have no problem. And so I was sitting up here on the internet today, as I like to do, trying to get my mind right as I'm walking in this gym. And I try to pick things that I want to listen to because, I give everybody a chance, and, I give everything a fair listen. And I came up on this guy, Ramil the Radical. And I've never heard this guy before. Never, I'm not a supporter. And I'm not saying I'm not a supporter because I don't want to be or because I have an issue with him. I'm just reiterating the fact that I don't know this guy. And, but I'm the type of person that I listen to everyone, just like I subscribed to someone's page last night, a older so-called black woman. And some of the things that she reported was just so on point. And she was so funny. I subscribed to her page, to her channel for the time being or whatever. And, as I see things pop up in my cycle, in my algorithm, I'll take a listen. And I decided to listen to this guy, Ramil. And on top of it, his topic was about, one O'Shea Duke Jackson. Now, O'Shea Duke Jackson has a lot of popularity, I would say, I guess, in the manosphere. This is why I continue to tell you guys personally, I don't put myself in no manosphere, no red pill, no none of that, no passport boys, none of that. Whatever terminology y'all using out here, I'm just me. And this is where being self-aware comes in at, because when you're self-aware, you create your lane and you're unapologetic about it. You just move the way you move. You don't have time to bicker with folks. You don't have time to go at it with individuals. But it's interesting to me, what caught my attention was that Ramil was talking about a very recent YouTube video that O'Shea Duke Jackson dropped about one, Kevin Samuels, and the great kickboxer, I believe he was. His real name is Andrew. His real name, many know him by Andrew Tate, but his real name is Emory Andrew Tate the third. He's a third because his father, was a junior. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm gonna tell you, when this family, they got some nice history. You know what I'm saying? From Tate Senior to Junior, uh, to Andrew Tate the third, who is the kickboxer and YouTube influencer. But I want to play you a bit of this so you'll have some context.
Guys, today I want to have a serious conversation about two people who have really blown up into the national media, and that is Mr. Andrew Tate, who is still living, and Kevin Samuels, who was recently departed 3 months ago. I knew Kevin Samuels on a personal level. I have not spoken to Mr. Andrew Tate. I do know that he is of Romanian descent. He was a kickboxer. I understand he's very financially wealthy and well off. But I've noticed that from what I understand, he does or does not have a YouTube channel. I'm not really sure about that. But I've noticed that Andrew Tate, if you look at the videos with his name on it, there are other YouTubers who are talking about Andrew Tate, and the videos are getting like an insane amount of views. 8 million, 9 million, sometimes even 10 million views just talking about Andrew Tate. And this has been recently within the last 1 to 2 months, kind of just like as Kevin died. Now, I looked at Kevin, and Kevin as a creator, he struggled early on. He put a lot of effort into the business, understanding the algorithm, understanding how things work, working really hard as a content creator. I don't think Andrew Tate is that same sort of person, but I have realized this, and this is not Mr. Tate's fault, and neither was it Mr. Kevin Samuels' fault. But I realized something. Andrew Tate has a lot of support from non-black men, in particular, white men. That's why Andrew Tate is blowing up.
So right out the gate, I can see where Ramil, the radical, was perturbed, because when you do the research and you do the history, it does appear that O'Shea Duke Jackson's research was lazy, because the Tates, Emory, Andrew Tate, there's a senior, there's a junior, there's a third, as I reiterated earlier. Andrew Tate, the kickboxer, is the third. His real name is Emory. So kind of like the Jackson 5 situation, I'm noticing for any of us that grew up, born, raised, live in Gary, Indiana, like myself, and I think about my class, who a lot of my graduating class, the males, they are working in one of the greatest businesses in Gary, which is the Gary Steel Mill, U.S. Steel. Joe Jackson worked in that steel mill, and everybody knew where their house was and everything, but yet when they would do interviews, you would hear a lot of Jackson 5 claim Chicago, Illinois, even though they were from Gary, Indiana. Excuse me. I get the impression that that was the situation with the Tate family, that they claimed Chicago because so much history said they were born there, but they were clearly tied to Gary, Indiana, and Indiana, period. And so Tate, talking about Tate Senior, was born in Chicago. Some information I'm seeing says where his father, well, actually, this is Tate Jr. Tate was born in Chicago, where his father, Emory Andrew Tate Sr., was a prominent attorney. He learned to play chess as a child. He served in the United States Armed Force as a sergeant, where his language skills were invaluable. His son said the military taught Russian. He picked up Spanish and German by accident. He had 3 children with his English wife. Following the breakup of their marriage, she moved back to the UK with all 3 children. So that's where Andrew Tate ended up being. His descent is not Romanian. His father was a so-called black man. He's a so-called black man.
He gets a lot of support. There is not a lot of hating on him from a lot of guys. I don't really see that. I mean, I hear some people calling him a fraud or con artist and things like that. But insofar as the guys in the sphere, like you see him getting support from Fresh and Fit, and to be honest, Fresh and Fit, they are like de facto white guys. They're kind of in the main Manosphere stream. They're not like the black Manosphere guys.
So this part got me, and I'm sure this is one of the parts that really got me, Ramil, the radical, because what do you mean in not the so-called black Manosphere guys? You know, one guy is mixed, not really sure what he's mixed with. Then you got another guy that's absolutely dark skinned and maybe of African descent to some degree, not sure what his mixtures are. But it's just interesting to me because as we sit and we look at DJ Academics here, I believe this is, with Andrew Tate, this is two so-called black men, regardless of what you feel or what you think. And I tell people all the time, you are the seed of your father. Your father is just like the farmer. The farmer is the one that sows seeds in the field. You are the seed of your father. He's a so-called black man. So what are you talking about? It just seems like low-key hate.
You see Andrew Tate getting support from all of the top players. That was much different with Mr. Kevin Samuels. Of course, in the Black Manosphere community, amongst the top ranking guys. And, at that time, we're talking about guys like, of course, me, Obsidian Media Network, guys like that. There was no discord between us and Kevin. And obviously you had sometimes disagreements. There was a short one between a miscommunication between a few of us right before Kevin died, about 2-3 weeks. That was handled really quickly and swiftly. I won't go into much detail about that. But those people who were there understood what was going on. But Kevin was our guy. However, we did have some people who were associated with the Black Manosphere or were in the community, and they had big problems. Other big time YouTubers in Black YouTube, who were even allies of Kevin at one point, had big problems. And a lot of people had big problems. Had nothing to do with the fact that they had an issue with Kevin, in my honest opinion. It was just that Kevin was more successful. So what happened was, it was a great discord. And of course you had black women, and that's a different story.
So this was another area of frustration mentioned by Ramil, the Radical. And it just makes me think, Kevin had over 1 million subscribers on 2 platforms, Instagram and YouTube. He was doing quite well, man. And he pointed out who his supporters were. And as much as these individuals, these particular mad broads, aspiring broads would cry and complain, they were watching the show. He had support from the so-called black community, male and female. And so who cares if he didn't have support from outside forces of other communities, so-called whites or whatever the case may be? Who cares? If that's what Tate has now, who cares? So it's just a head scratcher here.
But here's what I noticed with Mr. Andrew Tate, and I was talking with SPK about this. When white men get the opportunity to see somebody that resembles them, that resembles their values, or can say whatever they feel that they can't say. And again, I think that Mr. Tate is, obviously he's exceptional, in front of the camera, he's talking about certain things. But on average, I'm not really hearing him say something that Kevin Samuels has not said. I don't think he's a better articulator of what's going on with women than Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels is much better at, from what I understand, getting the point through, getting the point across, and being more technical about what he's trying to say. And I think that has everything to do with the fact that Kevin was 56, 57, and Andrew Tate is still a young man. Still, again, Andrew Tate is still very good at what he does. But the fact of the matter is, you see these guys supporting him. Even the channels that Andrew Tate allegedly may have or may not have, people are running him. He has like an Andrew Tate 24-hour stream. People are coming, dropping money all the time in support of him. But now with the black men, every time we have an opportunity to blow one of our guys up, there is the opportunity that we take, not all of us, many of us, to tear the guy down.
I am a subscriber and I support O'Shea as a fellow so-called black man, but I'm gonna tell you, I do not agree with any of this that he's saying, because it's almost like there's being a hissy fit thrown, and this is kind of what Ramil put forth. It's almost like it's a tantrum being thrown, and I get it. You putting on for your guy because you knew Kevin, but Kevin's delivery was what Kevin did. Andrew's is what Andrew does, and it doesn't matter about what Andrew delivery is, what Kevin's is, and who's more articulate, this, that, other. They had their lane and they're doing what they do. And it seems like he tried to sneak the Romanian background thing in when he's clearly a so-called black man and his mother is an English woman, but he's what his father is. He's a so-called black man from Gary, Indiana. So at the end of the day, he's from Northwest Indiana, where I reside as we speak, where I grew up in. This man is so-called black. And he has a lot of support, and he gets more support from outside forces then kudos to the man. Lift him up like you said. Nobody's tearing anyone down unless they're not factual.